we're now going to sanitize your machine. So what you want to do is get a bucket and use your Sterashine, 1 scoop per 2.5 gallons of water. And you'll want to stir that up. Using warm water helps dissolve the crystals. You may not have a scoop, you may have just 1 packet. So 1 packet is the same as the scoop. Next, you'll get some sanitizer on your brush, bring it over to the suction line, run that brush all the way up until it stops at the back of the freezing chamber. Then you'll bring that brush back down and dip it back in your sanitizer, doing this 3 or 4 times up that suction line. Next, you're going to sanitize the port on the high pressure line by removing that disconnect and running the brush into high pressure port. Just run the brush in that area, repeating 2 or 3 times. After sanitizing your suction line, you want to attach the high pressure line. Also attach flare line back to that suction line. So now you want to disconnect the top part of the high pressure line and put that into a bucket to sanitize. Now you want to just make sure your suction line is in the sanitizer water, and you want to make sure the high pressure line is disconnected and set it in a bucket. And now we're ready to go to the top of the machine and turn it on. So here we are, ready to sanitize the machine. If you haven't already put your extensions on the bottom of the door, you can easily snap those on now before you start sanitizing. Take an extra bucket, put that under your draw valves. You'll come up here, turn the main toggle switch on. You'll see the lights flicker a little bit. Now you can open up your prime plug, open up your draw valve, and push the pump. Now you're pulling sanitizer water from the bottom, and now you'll see you're running sanitizer through that high pressure line. After about 30 seconds, you'll come back up and turn the pump off. After shutting the pump off, make sure the sanitizer's out at the high pressure line. Now you can reattach it to your pressure switch up on top. Now after hooking up the high pressure line, you're ready to sanitize the barrel. Next, you'd want to pull the prime plug up and hit the pump key. Now you're going to have the pump run until you see sanitized water coming out of the bottom of the port for the prime plug. So now run the pump until you hear sanitized water coming out of the prime plug port. You can shut the pump off and close the prime plug, and then you're going to push wash and let it sanitize for 5 minutes, and then we'll release the pressure in the sanitizer and drain the barrel. So now after 5 minutes, you're going to open up your draw spout, hit your pump, and you can draw up the rest of the sanitizer that you have down in your bucket. And then you'll have sanitized your machine, and you'll be ready to prime your mix. So once you have all your sanitized water run through, and it might be just a little trickle, you can go ahead and shut your wash and pump off and close your draw valve. And now you are ready to prime it with mix. Next, you'll want to grab a bag of your mix, set that down in, then kind of face the opening of the bag up. We'll take the cap off, take your bag adapter, and I try to get as much air out of the bag as I can, and then slide that adapter down into the bag. You then want to slide this vent in and position the hose so it's not pressing up against the side and it's sucking mix. So it's sucking mix right out of the bag. You just want to prevent any air pockets in that line. Now we're ready to prime your line up on top into the chamber. So now after attaching your bag adapter to the bag, making sure you got the air out of the bag, come up here to the top, open up your draw valve, and open up the prime plug. At this point, you're just going to want to turn on your pump by pushing the pump key. Now you're going to start drawing mix from the bottom, and when you see it start to come out your draw spout, you're going to shut this draw valve. What you'll see at first is a little bit of water. Let it run for a little bit longer just to make sure you got a nice steady stream of mix coming through. Once you see all vanilla coming through, go ahead and close the draw valve. After closing the draw valve, you'll just continually let the pump run, and you're going to see it start to come out the bottom of the prime plug port. Just like before when you did the sanitizing, it's going to start to spit and sputter. When you get that nice steady stream, at that point you'll close the prime plug. Just make sure you have a nice steady stream so you're chasing the air pocket out of the chamber. So now you can see you're getting a nice steady sputter, making sure it's a nice stream, and at this point you can shut the pump off and let that come to a trickle. And then you can close the prime plug. After closing the prime plug, you can now push your snowflake and start the freezing cycle. You'll see the snowflake and the pump light come on automatically, and also your mix light for the mix hopper cooling will also come on. Just give it 5 minutes and it should be ready to go.